Mr. Benja, man, I am so tired.
What? You're the lively one.
No, man, I am tired of all these superhero movies, man. I think it's too many. It's too many.
Oh, oh no. Oh no, we've lost you. We've gone too far. Have they gone too far?
Yes, they have, man, and I don't think I'm the only one that's noticing.
Wait, hold on. See, now I'm imagining you like walking out of Quantumania, just kind of, you know, shuffling your checking your pockets and putting your hand over your chest. Like, what's that feeling? Is something in my chest? I don't know what it is. Maybe this is too much.
It's too much of a good thing, I guess. Or was it ever a good thing? I don't know, man. There's so many ways we could angles we can kinda cover this today, but if you don't know, listeners, I think we're entering a period of peak superhero fatigue right now, and I think we're seeing some cracks in the system. Notwithstanding, I think Quantumania, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, just that name alone, I'm exhausted of saying that. Just it's starting to hit a point where I think the populace, regular fans are kind of almost exhausted with this whole enterprise, chasing a high that we may never get. I don't know, Mr. Benja. We talked about Quantumania, last time and a little bit and gave some our insights on it. But what are your thoughts, Mr. Benja? Where are you at when it comes to just, superhero fatigue and the amount of content out there around superheroics?
I get upset with people when they say, "Oh, it's over, it's done. This needs to how do we need to grow." And I think when I hear a lot of that, people just wanna really, like, bug out and go left, right? And then you have studios who wanna keep things they wanna keep that same, "Oh, we just wanna keep churning out the next thing," and, "Oh my gosh, it's supposed to be like hamburgers. It's supposed to be a little bit of work, and we keep refining the process, so we make it cheaper, we bring in more money, it becomes a whole system, right? A big machine." And that's hard to do with it's gonna be hard to do for a really long length of time, and what are we going on with for hero movies now? Like, I mean, of course, the fervor really popped off with Iron Man and the new
2008, yeah.
yeah, but we've had it going on for a while, back since to Batman in the '80s, right?
Mhm, mhm.
When did that come out? 80
89.
9? Yeah, almost '90s. So, I mean, hero movies have been around and finally hit the mainstream, and once that happens, can it survive? Like, they used to ask music artists this, can they survive going mainstream? You know, do they have what it takes to really flesh themselves out, or is it just gonna turn into that trend that lasted for X amount of years, and then people went on to the next thing, like Westerns. We've never really gotten Westerns back,
Mm, mm,
you
mm.
know?
Yeah, good point. You know what? And that's a good comparison. They just hip hop just is celebrating its 50th, anniversary, right? I guess 1973 is when they said that it officially launched, right? And so they had a big thing at the Grammys. I don't know if you saw that. It was all over the internet for a little bit where, you had LL Cool J, you had, MC Light, you had like old school heads, just coming out, Slick Rick, and just, reminiscing on just how hip hop has lasted so long as a genre, right? Music genre, rap and all that. And so, now we're in this next phase where basically it's the dominant, music genre. I mean, if you don't listen to TikTok, if you don't watch TikToks, you would think that's all that existed, right?
Yeah,
But,
yeah.
so I think, that shows you that these some art forms can persist, right? It's in the art form of music, but it's a subgenre that's just become the dominant genre out of it. And so can superheroes do the same? That's what, Kevin Feige was, hoping to prove. But I don't know, man. It does seem like we're kind of hitting our limit. I think that high that we chase after Avengers, Infinity War, or
In the end
Endgame.
game, yep.
Yeah, Avengers Endgame, where, we talked about this on the pod. Captain America got that hammer, that Thor Mjolnir hammer, and just said, "Avengers assemble." Man, that was the hypest thing, we probably seen. That's up there. That's up there. I'm not gonna lie, but it took what 20 something movies,
Yeah.
over 10 years to get to that, and what 50 different actors to get to that point. Now we're in this thing, the multiversal, arc, and it's just, it is almost in a sense, you're thinking about this multiverse, there's really no no end game to that really because it's just infinite, right? Because it's
Yeah,
infinite universes. So it's kind of like, what are we building toward? Because
yeah.
there's no real ending, really.
Yeah, but does okay, I have 2 questions on that. What are we building towards? Okay. Does there have to be something that we're building to, an endpoint? Can it just kind of go on? Like, sci-fi has, had its ups and downs, maybe the 60s, 70s, I'm not sure. Maybe that was a heyday for sci-fi. But, I mean, you had all these Mars attacks and you had, coming out as the industrial age was going on, people were like, hey, well, we built a steam engine. What about building flying cars and all that stuff? And that's when science fiction seemed to really pop off.
Mhm,
Please, anybody with historic knowledge, correct me on that. But yeah, with like superheroes, maybe it's just the time for it because of the whole zeitgeist of information, these long-lasting stories, the connectivity of it, the deep dives that you can do with the internet that you just simply couldn't do before.
mm,
Reactions and who would win in a fight videos, and I mean, we're making videos right now on it, right?
yeah,
So,
con
does it have to end? I'm not even so sure that it has to go anywhere, but I hear what you're saying. People do want to kind of understand, like, well, especially with the MCU, is this like a big commercial for the next thing? Is it a Ponzi scheme you know, of entertainment? And on DC side, they have the opposite problem. It's like I can't go to movies and feel any kind of continuity.
mm,
So
point.
they've got the opposite problem. And I just don't think people are making as good quality stories or a good quality piece of work as they can. They're just starting to, on Marvel's end, fart them out. And then on DC's end, they never got the chance to really get together to make a quality series of products.
Mhm, mhm. No, that's a good point. They got 2 opposite problems, right? And I mean, but, I just go back to Marvel. I mean, Endgame, just by the name, Avengers Endgame,
Yeah.
there was an end to this, right? So it's like there was a beginning, middle, and an end. And so watching all the different pieces and all the different shows and all the they didn't really have shows then during before that, but, just kinda watching all this play out over these 20 movies and then you say, "Okay, there was a purpose to watch all this, right? And now this end." Whereas now, not only are they getting into the multiverse, but they have new distribution channels like TV, right, to deliver
Yeah.
MCU brand. And so now people are like, I gotta like for instance, I think we saw the wheels kind of starting to come off, obviously a little bit with Eternals, absolutely. But really, multiverse, absolutely, yes, yes.
So I just love the phrase, you start to see the wheels come off,
Oh, yeah.
like you just drive, you hit a speed bump and your hubcap goes,
As expert Mario Kart, professionals, yes, we remember those days. The wheels were coming off literally and other things. But, yeah, man, I think that whole scenario is just understanding, where this could go. But people like what I was saying was the wheels were falling off when we looked at, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, right? It was like, okay, oh, everybody was hype. Okay, this is the beginning of the multiversal kinda thing. But, if you didn't watch WandaVision, if you didn't kinda watch Loki, you're still kinda like, "Okay, what's going on here?" And this whole infinite world, they really only went to what? One weird world, everywhere else was kind of basic, and so it's kinda like, "What are we doing here?" You know?
yeah,
And it
yeah.
was kinda like, it was kinda underwhelming, right? And so I think, Marvel, it is kinda lack of imagination of what this could mean. I mean, really, the only really truly inspiring part of this whole saga for MCU was Loki season 1 when, Kang or well, the one who remains, a
Mhm.
version of Kang, right, pops up at the end of a TV show. And
Yeah,
he didn't really have no special effect, he just sat talking on a desk. And
yeah,
it was the most compelling thing I've seen from MCU since Mjolnir and Cap,
yeah.
right? So I'm like, but they it's like that was, like, amazing, but since then, I don't know, man. This whole, vision of where they're going is starting to, show fatigue overall.
But yeah, and this frustrates me as a creator because I know you have to put in a big initial investment and people don't want to mess something up when they're trying to put out that first thing. So you end up with usually a when you have a good, strong initial opening, Iron Man in this case, and followed up, with Thor, Captain America, and the others who people got excited about. It's like y when you're in a corporation that creates stuff like this, you have to actually stop and say, "Hold on a second," you know, "You put down your champagne glass, you get back in the gym, you go read books again because 'cause you're out of touch with the comic book community," and everybody has to go get back on their game to get back into the system. It's hard to keep it tight. So when Feige was talking and he said he was gonna cut back on, and you let me know because you're more familiar with that what he said than I am, but he went back and was talking about creating quality and more quality, less quantity, right?
Mhm. Definitely. It was one of those things where he was like, "It's too much." And we gotta well, but the thing was, check this out. I've never seen this too. This is see, like I said, this is when you know, we're seeing, they seen that they like, "Uh-oh, yeah, I made a terrible mistake," right? I don't know if you watched, Arrested Development back in the day, but every time someone said that phrase, right, something terrible was about to happen. But it does seem like Feige and the crew is like, "Uh-oh, we may have done too much," right? And so and then he's, kind of giving credence to the fact that there's just too much shit out there, right? And so they release all these TV shows and all these movies, right? And, they've been, pretty much underwhelming, right? And there's nothing ground shaking about some of 'em. Maybe the first, like Loki, WandaVision, because it was the first one, it was kind of interesting, unique, and different what they were trying to do. A few ones that stood out that we talked about on this pod before. Black American Falcon. I mean, that wasn't received as well, but we thought was
Yeah,
interesting. But I think that is something that, he's realizing that it's just too much, right? And it's becoming a point where I'll go through a list later, but there's a bunch of shows that were supposed to be slated even this year alone that they all just got pushed, right?
yeah.
Because they realized that, it's just too much content out there and the fatigue is real.
The thing that they've been trying to do that really pisses me off, and this is one of the reasons I didn't enjoy Quantumania as much as I wanted to. No spoilers here, but I felt that they already knew the problem of having a setup and then not having a payoff with the strong movie that exists on its own when they did, Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, and the single verse of Mid. It's like you gotta take the chance to knock those out of the park.
Mhm.
If you're doing a setup and then a payoff thing. But as I said, the thing that got me mad with Quantumania is it felt like there was a setup with Loki and other movies leading into what was supposed to be a big bang, and it was more of a setup.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's a spoiler for anybody, but it's just more of a setup. And I'm like, how dare you just pass off a setup for something else that was already a setup? I mean, I get the whole concentric circle kind of thing, but
Got set up for the setup, son.
no, no, no. This wasn't what you really waited months for. You're gonna wait years for. I'm like, look, dude, you came at me with Shang-Chi, you came at me with She-Hulk, you came at me with what was the yeah, as you said, Bucky and Captain Falcon and the
Black
Winter.
Falcon, yeah.
Yeah,
Black
Fal
American Falcon.
yeah, Black American Captain Falcon of War Machine. I should tag that on the end of that. Wakanda Forever, and I kinda wanna leave Wakanda Forever out of that one, but, eh, I'll leave it there. What I'm saying is none of these have lit anyone on fire, but
Yeah.
where it's just like, "Oh my god," you're just like, you're screaming, hooting, and hollering, like, "Finally, we got this, we got that," or something happened. I mean, dude, let me tell you, I got so bored, I went and re-upped on Netflix
Oh, no.
so I could watch Morbius.
It's Morby time.
Boy,
I
it
love it.
took me a while, but who let that one go? I don't come on, man.
I gotta watch it. I haven't watched it yet, so, I mean, yeah, I'm about to have to watch it. I think they figured, "Look, man, work with Tom Hardy." He made Venom work. Venom should not work, but he made it work. And then, of course, they got the Spidey, Sony in their own little universe. We don't really talk about them because basically they're borrowing characters from MCU.
Mhm.
But, yeah, we'll see, man. I don't know, man. Like I said, I think we saw look, reason why we're kinda talking about this, I guess, is because, this is, we're recording the 2nd week of Ant-Man and the Wasp, and it clearly did underperform. I mean, I think people worried it wouldn't open. That was one of the first fears, but then when it kinda opened to 100 over 100,000,000, that 1st weekend, people said, "Okay, okay, let's see what happened the 2nd weekend." 2nd weekend went from 106,000,000 to 32,000,000 in just 1 weekend, which is the biggest dip a Marvel movie has ever fallen. And that's around 69, almost 70%. So, just the rewatchability is kind of like, almost like homework, The diehard fans went to go see it just to say, hey, I checked the box, I have my bingo card here, I watch all Marvel movies in the movie theater. Now I'm done, right? And
Yeah.
so, but I can kind of one hand in the last year, the Marvel movies I watched twice, the new ones that came out. The only one really I watched more than once was Spider-Man: No Way Home, and, that was
Mhm.
it. Everything else, Wakanda Forever, I'm just thinking through it, not yeah, Doctor Strange, no. Now Shang-Chi I did watch again with the kids. That was pretty good rewatch. But yeah, everything else, man, it's been few and far between, man. And that's to me is a good indicator. I think, that's a good, it correlates well with how well the movie as itself, stands up.
Yeah, I'm trying to think, what have I yeah, there are a couple when I back when I had Disney Plus, which I'm threatening myself to get back on it, but I have Hulu now, so that'll pause me for a little bit.
I love it.
Anyway, I was going through, like, some of the movies, and I was thinking, "Which ones do I wanna watch again?" And it was Captain America, Iron Man, and yeah, it's like there's something about just that strong core story of beats that you wanna watch something again, and Black Panther, I suppose. But why did I think those are the only ones that really caught my eye, like, I could watch that again.
Yeah, low key, man, Captain America: Winter Soldier, that was a banger, man. I mean,
Mhm.
it wasn't like the big fireworks of, Civil War, and it wasn't the first one, right, which was, kind of cute, throwback movie. But man, that second one, man, I mean, that's pretty good stuff, man. I like that one. This is that, and that probably gave the Russo brothers their opening shot to get access to the Avengers. But so yeah, so you're right, man. Those are the ones. And then Iron Man 1, I mean, I can remember watching that in theaters like twice. It was just so good. So that was good. Thor, I wasn't been a fan of Thor. It wasn't until Ragnarok, right? When, they figured out the comedy around it. But I'm trying to think of the Spider-Man. Those are the core four. I mean, Doctor Strange, I can't remember watching twice. Maybe the first time it was enough for me. I'm just not a Doctor Strange fan. And yeah, that's pretty much it, man. I don't think I went back to see any of them like that. So anyway, make a long story Black Panther, of course, I watched that like multiple times, the original one. But, yeah, man. So anyway, I think, there's some fatigue on MCU, but do you mind if we switch over to
Actually
go ahead.
actually, I watched Ant-Man twice.
Oh, yeah. The first one was quaint. I really liked it. It was.
Nuts, and it's quaint. I just
I
didn't
mean,
expect
literally, it was.
yeah,
It
yeah,
shrink small, he's in the bathtub, the water, the perspective. I think
yeah.
that people were complaining about this one was that you really didn't get a sense of perspective, which made it kinda he was fighting on a toy train, right? Thomas the Train and
Yeah. No, their biggest I forgot what to call it, 0 level, that base level draw that you get from those movies is seeing stuff go big and small,
Yeah,
and they didn't have that in this movie. So,
not at all.
for people wondering, like, one of my criteria for movies, because 'cause they're always confused why I like this and don't like that, it's kinda because there's something you expect, and I kind of want people to play it out properly. Like a grilled cheese
Mhm.
sandwich. It's like, "Look, if I'm gonna get a grilled cheese sandwich, you can't come out here with some you know, actually, those aren't slices of bread. What this is a patty of arugula, right? And it's built up with bean paste. And instead of cheese, we've got this, yogurt dressing. I'm like, look, man, that might taste well, wonderful, and good and all that, but somewhere along the way, that's not a grilled cheese. Get it out.
Mhm.
So at some point along the way, I'm thinking, okay, this family, I got the family. Okay, Darren's here. Okay, that's Yellow Jacket, sure. We're getting away from the type of the heist, I guess it was a heist, maybe, we talked about that, so you
Yeah.
can go back to the other one and listen to our whole breakdown about that spoiler-filled episode, but it was good. So, yeah, with these, it's like, well, this is interesting because it was supposed to be the beginning of, like, the next, "Oh my gosh, we're starting up this next part of the Marvel, the MCU," and yeah, now you got the writer out here justifying the ending.
Oh, man.
What did he say?
Jeez. Oh, man, that was crazy. Have you heard that in your life? A writer out here trying to defend the ending to Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania,
Yeah, we don't
why
wanna
they
spoil
ended
it
the way
here,
they
but
did. Yeah, it just I mean, just the process of I mean, I've never heard that before. I mean, maybe a director say something like that, but he knows it was so badly, received that he had to justify why they made the decision. And then when you read his example, it was just like, yeah, it's still a cop out. It's just like he basically said we did something similar to this before and we don't want to do it the same thing again. But okay,
it
but
worked before.
it worked. And then also the stakes are different now. I don't know. Whereas before you were Ant-Man was a jackass, now he's a messenger that can get, can really help, warn for some evil or something like that, right? He just kind of fell into it. So anyway, I don't know. It just seems like it was a cop out, and I just never saw that before in my life that a writer would out here in these streets. And also, I think he is the writer, currently writer on the next King Dynasty Avengers, the next Avengers movie, which would be King Dynasty, probably coming out 2026 or something like that,
Yeah,
2025. And so he's kind of saying, well, let me justify my job here, right? I can keep it going, get that paycheck coming in.
I don't know if I have full faith in these people who have dubious backgrounds, and I don't mean like he should be canceled. I'm saying the only thing people know him for is Rick and Morty.
Mm,
As much as I might love that or, dig it, it doesn't have a comparison? Are they gonna bring in the I'm just wondering, what are you getting with that kind of background? I don't know, maybe a great thing.
mhm, mhm, mhm. I mean, he wrote for, Rick and Morty. I mean, if you watch, I'm a fan. Unfortunately, what's happening to the creator of that's a whole nother story. We probably won't go into now, but basically removed from that experience. So I don't know how they're gonna do the voices anymore. But anyway, so Rick and Morty, it's definitely guys fans. I'm one of them, and the stuff they come up with is ingenious, but I do feel like it doesn't have a lot of heart to it, right? And so that kind of made sense to me now that when I looked at Ant-Man
Hmm,
and the Wasp, there's just a lot of, interesting ideas in it, but it's like really no heart. And that works well in a cartoon because
interesting.
you could throw it off real quick, right? You can just do a little quick edit and move on to the next thing. Because literally, I've watched Rick and Morty episodes, and I usually have to stop it and rewind it again. It's like that was a genius idea or thought, right? But that's it. There's no there's
And
no core to it.
yeah, but that would have been interesting if we would have gotten more of that from Quantumania too.
Good point. I think they had little pieces of it because it's a, still a movie and it's live action. They can't cut as fast, right? Between, you can just, and it was, Rick and Morty's just joke, everything at the expense of the joke, right? That's all that matters. So anyway, make a long story short, I think, I mean, sure, he's good, but yeah, man, I don't know, man. It does seem like, he's out here justifying, why he needs to keep getting these MCU checks. So kudos to him. Well, we'll see, but I think Kevin Feige is a man, he's a producer, man of mission. And so if it ain't working, he would cut that thing off so quick. I mean, because you remember, who was supposed to be on these Ant-Man films, the director. You remember?
No.
Oh man, see now I'm drawing a blank myself, but I'll come to me in a second. He did Scott Pilgrim,
Oh, the producer or director or who?
director.
Okay. Oh, nice. I like that guy.
Yeah. So he was originally supposed to come in there, but I think, because, he
Interesting.
has his own vision of how, it should be done, they kind of Marvel kicked him to the curb. But yeah, Edgar Wright. Yeah, he's
Edgar
got
Wright.
his
Edgar Wright.
got his own vision. He's really originally supposed to be on Ant-Man. And you see why. He's got a good sensibility. If you watch any of his movies, Shaun of the Dead, Scott Pilgrim, Those are some of the classics I saw. Baby Driver. I didn't see the latest one he did last night in Soho, but yeah, he's got his own perspective on things. But
I believe he could do it. I mean, so well, but they say he's too much of an auteur. Whatever.
so anyway, so yeah, he was slated to do the Ant Man. Matter of fact, I think he has a writing credit on it. Let me look. Yeah, he does. He's got a writing credit on the first Ant Man,
Oh, nice.
along with
That's
uh,
right. He did one.
as long as like 20 other people. Paul Rudd is on here. Peyton Reed. So anyway,
You know,
it goes
call
to show
call him
you.
in to write a scene. I love that.
So anyway, so make a long story short, so we'll see what happens next with it. But real quick, one thing end up on MCU. So here's the shows are getting pushed back because of this. What we saw correction in MCU vision now, or plan of action. So Invasion Secret Wars is still coming out. That hasn't changed. So that'll be out this year. And that's pretty much it. Oh, and Loki season 2. Those are the ones that are coming out this year. So it looks like I think before the release of some as many as 4, right, TV shows in 1 year.
Yeah.
Now it looks like they're going down to 2. And so the ones that were slated to come out this year, they all got pushed back. Echo, which is the character from Hawkeye, she's, getting her TV show, and I think Daredevil and Kingpin are supposed to appear in that. That's moving to 2024.
Nice.
Hawkeye season 2, moving to 2024. What If, a show that's near and dear to you and I's heart, and saw some potential there with it. It's a cartoon, it's art, animated series. And so that, they can do what they want with it, but that's being moved to 2024. Ironheart. So she's getting moved. And, the character from Wakanda Forever. And then
Mhm.
I guess, quote unquote, a new Tony Stark, right? Until Tony Stark shows up again, I guess. And then Agatha coming to whatever madness or whatever they're
God,
gonna
see,
call it.
g-
The
see,
new
just
go ahead.
this whole thing, man. It's just like, is Hawkeye season 2 about Hawkeye? If there's Echo, or are
Good
they
point.
two separate?
And guess what? And Daredevil is, having his own series, right, coming out, and that's already was slated for 2024. Then we talked about something unheard of, like 20 episodes. That's just ridiculous.
I think did they settle on 12, or did they?
Oh, they went down? Probably. They
I don't
needed
know.
to.
Yeah, I was also going to mention that because I'm wondering about their strategy for padding the service. Talking about Disney Plus, if you've got something that's only 6 episodes, and or eight, yeah, 6 episodes, and the first two come out at the same time, then you definitely don't need 3 months to watch that. But if it's 12 episodes, that like
Mm.
gets you in that threshold of, hey, you're doing this over the span of, you know, 11, 12, 13, 14 weeks maybe, where you have to show up every day, and, it gets harder to churn out and disconnect from the service and come back on if you got more overlap like that.
Mm.
So,
Good point. I mean, that makes sense from a quarterly reporting numbers, right? So just kind of like what Netflix did with Stranger Things, they did in 2 parts, so they can
yeah,
show the crossover and less churn. Look, we didn't churn over 2 months. Yeah, every 2 quarters. And yeah, because you had Stranger Things pop up in two
yeah.
quarters, right? Even though it should have been just in one. Yeah. So yeah, I get the shenanigans, but you know what? Be honest with you, Wall Street is not evaluating these companies on growth or even churn. They're looking at profitability. And we already know Disney Plus, just like all the streamers, are losing tons of money, to create this content. So, when you look at Disney, they're looking at like, how do we make quality? But it doesn't mean about quantity anymore. They're not trying to grow at all cost. So to them, I think they really want to focus on quality and kind of keeping people in ecosystem. And to your point, maybe churn may be a good indicator of keeping people on the platform longer. But I don't know, man. If you don't have good content and then, you got content. I mean, when's the last new Disney Plus show came out? They had Bad Batch recently, released. They did some High School Musical stuff. They did some other things, but now they're gonna have Mandalorian, right? That's popping up
Yeah.
March. That should get people through and hopefully to Invasion. Then after that, what's next? So it's gonna be interesting to see how they could just do the Star Wars, what is Star Wars to MCU thing,
Mhm.
dance,
You're all right.
you know,
Because those
yeah.
2 audiences are.
Yeah, if you
Yeah,
keep that dance going just enough, the Star Wars, then you got MCU, you got Star Wars, you got MCU. You ain't going nowhere if you're a fan.
basic. Do you think the push from Feige to go, "Hey, we wanna go more terrestrial, the small. We want to go more into like the neighborhoods and the whole Spider-Man, Daredevil, Hawkeye push being neighborhood kind of things. You think they're pushing that because it's cheaper? Is that part of the idea?
Ooh, that's a good point, but maybe more relatable too, man. I mean, but yeah, I mean, but from my understanding, the volume makes a lot of these, quote unquote, high effects type organ things a lot more easy to produce, right? Because now you just stick the actors in. I mean, if you watch Ant-Man and the Wasp, look like they just live their life in that volume
Yeah,
technology, right? Basically, you just put the actors in there, they create virtual backgrounds,
yeah.
and now the actors, they don't have to pretend as much because they actually see what you see.
You know what? You know what this just gave me an idea for?
What's that?
I want to see Professor X chilling at a wine bar. It'll be like Cheers, but X-Men and real cheap, inexpensive, and Professor X is just sitting around talking to people as they walk in and out, playing chess, whatever.
Oh, that is cool. Yeah, have like a virtual visit with Professor X while you're sitting there drinking. I love it.
Yeah,
Hey,
I mean,
there
virtual
it is.
or he's actually, in some bar somewhere.
That's random. Where'd that come from? The
No, we were thinking about like I was thinking about the opposite of the volume, making them as cheap as possible and having just one set. I was like, what could one set be? Something like Cheers. Hey, what if Professor X was
Nice.
just sitting around acting like Frasier and talking to people, weird
I
people
love
as they come in the bar?
I love it. I love it. So anyway, so that's what's Marvel. And then we also know Marvel's the movie, about Miss Marvel, Captain Marvel, and Spectrum. It's got pushed in November. So yes, that's Marvel. But real quick, let's talk about DC. I mean, DC's a mess. We all know that. They just talked, but yeah, James Gunn did his hostage video. What they're gonna release? What's
I
the
thought
vision
I
for
had to make
for
a
it for
correction.
the
Yeah, I thought it was a dingy curtain. It was just a low res pattern background that looked like it was made in MS Paint, then got blurry.
Please save me. Yes. He is captured by the DCU, but he came from the MCU, so he had to put his shots out there. Basically just say, hey, the MCU process, they don't write their movies all the way out, right? They don't have a third act usually. He's either already done from CGI's perspective or they just do it as they kinda write, as they're, on set. And he's like, "Well, we're gonna do it differently. We're gonna write the whole movie out before we even put
Yeah.
one piece of, content out there." So, okay, shots fired. We'll see.
So explain how that actually could work, because that I don't know how that sounds to people when you say they don't write the ending for a script. How does Marvel? Because that sounds really weird.
Hey, man, I don't know, man. You're more the artist than I am, man. I have no idea. I think I'm just shocked that they do that. Maybe they have the beginning. I mean, because films are filmed out of order, so we know that, right? And so they can film it any way they want, and they just put it together later in editing. But man, I have no idea, man. I mean, maybe they come in and they start doing a lot of middle because maybe that's already built out because the beginning and the ending, they kind of have to inform each other, right? And so I would assume that like if there's a like let's say it's a Spider-Man No Way Home. Remember, I think they were talking about they didn't know how it's going to end. And that made sense because, spoiler alert, they had to probably get contracts in place for other actors to pop up and show,
Oh, yeah. Well, if
like
people don't
Tobey
know that
Maguire.
yet, then they should just
Yeah.
turn off this podcast.
Get out of here. What'd you listen to us for?
But yeah, the other people show up in that movie and how getting the contracts together. I'm sorry, go on.
Yeah, but so, that probably, kind of delayed. So what if that person couldn't show up, right? In the portal at the end, right? Or whatever. Well, we gotta write something else, right?
Yeah,
Hey, instead of Tobey Maguire, we got the lizard. Hey,
yeah,
lizard, how you doing? Or, Jamie Foxx, popping up again,
yeah.
so I don't know. It's kind of one of those things, but I have no I mean, you tell me, how do you
Okay,
think they gotta do it?
so, you write out basic script the way you think it should go, and then people are like, "Okay, fine." And then they start asking for alternates. This definitely happens if you get another actor on. I remember Sylvester Stallone ended up getting his hand on a script, and he came back to them and said, "Here, all these parts of the script have been rewritten. If you should get me in the role." And they're like, "Okay, now I got 2 versions of the script." So that's I can learn that, people start, like, customizing scripts for the different people they get because,
Mhm.
I don't know, maybe this person isn't as physically strong or, maybe, if the story is about a young kid in Harlem and it's like, "Hey, we have a chance to get Matthew Broderick." It's like, well, it's not a kid and he's not from Harlem. Hold on a second. You have to write all these other versions. So you get a lot of these versions and chapters and reorderings of all this stuff in pretty early. But what usually happens is you have something called a lock, where the script is basically locked. It's like,
Mhm.
this is pretty much it. Anything else is going to cost us money, time, and possibly your job after this is over. So you get to a point where it's locked. And once it's locked or getting very close to being locked, that's when you start filming, when you know you have it in order. Because as you said, if you're filming a guy and he's having a intense moment with somebody, if that's supposed to pay off at the end, then you can film it a certain way. It's like, yes, intense moment because it's going to pay off in the end. But then if it's kind of filmed out of order or stuff's removed or you're not sure of how the ending or the beginning is going to be, somebody could come out of a movie. It's like, yeah, that guy seemed really intense in the beginning, but in the end,
Yeah.
he's just kind of like, whatever. What was that about?
You gotta
So
keep
you
the
end up
tone
with
right.
a so you end up with a weaker product just
Yeah.
because it's not as tight, it's not as
Yeah.
together.
Yeah, it's not congruent, right? It doesn't make sense. Yeah. So, and to your point, I'm sure the actors they probably say, okay, do it this way, or do it that way, or maybe the actor gives you something a little bit different. You're like, maybe we can use that later in third act. So, yeah, it's kind of weird. You're right. They can create all kind of different versions. I mean, that's why it's a true collaborative environment,
Yeah,
right? Because the actors are feeding off what the director's telling them, right? What the other actors are giving them, and then the director and was feeding off of that, and so, "Oh, maybe we do a close up because now he's crying. I didn't think you'd cry in this scene, but let's go
yeah,
for it." And
yeah,
then you got the writer, he's crying, so, do we need to rewrite the beginning to show, that pain,
yeah.
before he cries? So, I get it now. Okay, yeah,
I
it's fascinating.
I will tell you on the little behind the scenes when we were making Table Tennis, the video game, we weren't sure about one of the characters, how they should be recognized. So we finished recording the guy and we were like, hey, he's got like X amount of time left, right? And you don't want to usually pressure them too much to milk out at every last little minute of time you've got together. That's just kind of rude where it's like, dude, you've got 2 minutes, sit back down. You know, if it's
Right.
going if it's going good, if it's going good, they'll go overtime. Just to no, no, I want to get this right. Let's go overtime, and it's fine. But if they see you're just trying to milk it and like ask them to do dumb stuff, then it gets kind of weird. Anyway, we were at the getting towards the end of one session, and we are like, you know what? We're not exactly sure about this one character, how we're going to address him. Could you do these lines over as if it was like this? And this was for a table tennis game. So like you're playing against somebody, and you know I'll use Street Fighter names, if Ken and Guile, "I'll kick your ass, Guile."
Mhm.
You'd have to change that around to, maybe you address them a little differently.
Gotcha.
"Alright, Guile, come back for a rematch," or something like that. Just have
Yeah.
them say some lines over again. They do that a lot in movies, and this whole cobbling together thing, we'll see if it works. I like the idea of what James Gunn is doing because that means everybody can get behind the direction and tone all at once.
Yeah, and that's usually how movies they have the script in place for because that script is the calling card of just what the movie could be, right? And then now you're
Yeah,
trying to draw all your collaborators who see the vision and they all want to be aligned to that. And it usually makes a pretty good movie, right? When it's aligned like that. But
yeah.
Marvel is a machine.
Yeah, if you're talking about if you've ever seen that credits list fly up, I mean, it was hard keeping the, table tennis or any video game crew together, and we're nowhere near that big.
Mm,
You're trying to keep somebody on the same page, so when you look at the game the next day after everybody submitted their check-ins, it's like, "All right, who did this?" And, "What is that? What is that?" Somebody thinks it's a good idea. It's like, "Well, I thought it was a good idea." You know?
yeah, that's a good point, man. I never thought of it like that. Someone mentioned to me it's like creating $100 million company, right? Over 3 years. But you don't know if you go but you're gonna make it all in, like, one weekend.
Yeah,
And this sounds like when you think of it like that, you gotta have the same process, you have a vision, kinda like when I built my company. You got a vision, you have to lead by know, you gotta communicate, But, we have milestones, right? We see revenue coming in every month, right? But,
Mhm.
there's no revenue coming. Everything's done. And
Yep.
then if it was successful or not. I was like, wow. Yeah, that's a good point. So anyway, so we'll see with James Gunn. But also they're having their issues. I mean, they got what, 3 movies they got released here. The Flash, Shazam, and Aquaman 2, but have nothing to do with the new
Yeah.
vision. And so they were delayed for what, almost a year and a half, a lot of these
Yeah.
movies. And so they're not kind of coming out. The next one, Shazam for DC Studios, excuse me, not DCEU,
Looks alright.
DC Studios.
Alright.
Yeah, yeah, it's passable, but, is there any continuity to it? To your point, is there a reason to watch it? James Gunn, and the funny thing is, he said the theme is gods and monsters, and I saw nothing with Shazam in there at all, or Black Adam, or anything, which,
Oh, yeah.
technically,
Yeah.
and then the only, pseudo god they had was, is Wonder Woman, and it's a TV show about her growing up, so it's kinda like
No, you don't see her.
exactly, good point.
It's not about her growing up, it's about the Amazonians.
So it's like
So, yeah, it's
where's the gods at? And there's gods and monsters. I guess Superman is a god? Okay. There it
yeah, we'll
is.
see. But, speaking of we're talking about the whole superhero fatigue, it's like, okay, Marvel, we they're the big gut dogs on the yard. We get where their fatigue is setting in. DC, it's like people are about to give up on them. This Flash trailer, this Flash trailer though might have redeemed them. If they can make this movie pop, everybody's gonna be running around DC like mad, trying to figure out where's that
Can I just say
Ezra.
something real
Yeah,
quick?
go.
Man, people are saying this is a hot movie. I don't know if it's just the internets, or the interwebs, or what's going on, but man, there's Aquaman 2, not so much. I mean, for what I'm hearing, but this Flash movie is supposed to be the bee's knees, man. I'm I mean, you can't go wrong with Batman, I guess, and then bringing back Michael Keaton, but I don't know, man. What are your thoughts?
You're talking about watching stuff over and over again. I swear I watched that trailer for at least a solid half hour.
Oh, no.
I mean, because
Not the tenant days. Oh, no, you going
man,
back
I
to the
watched
beat.
it, then I watched other people watch it with reactions. I watched breakdowns. I was like, "Holy crap, finally, finally some awesome DC actions coming back, nostalgia, straight up hero stuff." So I got really hyped about it, and I think that I don't know, we'll see if this is their last one because I got hyped over Loki. Watched that last episode a couple times, did the same thing, and they did me dirty. So let's see what
Oh,
happens with this. But yeah, that's I mean that's DC. We'll see, right?
no, I get it, I get
You
it.
ain't
So,
you
real
ain't
I mean, not really. I mean, Ezra Miller problems, I mean, Batman is Batman. I mean, it's good to see Michael Keaton, but I don't know, man, but, I mean, I'm gonna go with it. I just I don't know, man. We'll see. I mean, Ezra Miller, I thought he was a fascinating Flash, and he's definitely doing something interesting there. So I thought that was kind of cool, So even yeah, I don't know, man. We got to see where this goes. But I
alright.
mean, who doesn't love the TV show? This is the last season of the TV show. I need to catch back up on it. But I mean, Flash has got
Do you remember
goodwill.
do you remember I told you I was so happy that one episode where the bad guys won? I was cheering, dog. I was like, "Oh, thank God. The Flash has gotten so bad. I really want the bad guys to win." I
And
was
they did.
actually cheering.
And
It's
they
like,
did.
"Yes, yes, you
So
lose, losers."
so anyway, so let's just end this on a on
Wait,
a
wait, hold on. I know it's time. I want to do this quick though. There's some other no other studios are really doing anything for the whole hero fatigue. Millar World getting stuff canceled, not really popping off on Netflix like
what are you talking
everybody
about?
hoped.
Jupiter's World was awesome.
Man, get out here.
I'm a stand for Jupiter's World, man.
Jupiter's
Or
stagnancy.
Jupiter's Legacy. Excuse me, I haven't said it wrong. Jupiter's
Jupiter's
Legacy.
stagnancy. All
Go
right,
ahead.
possibly they're supposed possibly they could have a spinoff or whatever, but yeah, Image Comics was supposed to do something. Spawn with Jamie Foxx is somewhere out there. I don't know what's happening with that.
Really? I didn't know that.
What do you mean that is still out there?
No, I didn't know that Jamie Foxx was engaged in that. Okay. Didn't know.
Yeah, yeah. So that's expected to be something. Is but that was, like, pre-pandemic, so I don't know what the past couple years have done for that movie. Dark Horse, they've got some great characters that would make for really interesting movies, but no one's heard from them. Valiant released some stuff, like live action kinda weirdness, little short stuff they put on their website, but they're not going anywhere. They're corny and they fumbled the ball. Unless they bring out a Turok movie, then I'll cheerlead them again.
That's rock. Love it, love it. Yeah. So you don't give any credence to anything coming from other studios right now. That's oh well. Hey man, you know what? There's one we forgot. We
But that
forgot the boys.
sure,
That is
sure.
the one that's I think, and you could lump it Invincible in there, right? I think this ultra violent, profane kind of way of viewing superheroes
Yeah,
is almost, quaint and new, right? And people are kind of digging that piece of it. So we'll see when they come back, are people still watching it, at that level. But I think they do bring a much needed refreshness, right, to this whole superhero genre where, I mean, look, if you were a superhero, they just think the worst of people. And there's something that rings true to that a little bit. I mean, let's be honest, Spider-Man, if he didn't think that happened to Uncle Ben, that's why he's probably one of the most enduring characters because
okay.
he was us and he did the worst. He went to he was trying to get that guap, man. He was trying to get that money. And the boys have said, what if you had all the superheroes be like Spider-Man and they had no Uncle Ben?
Yeah,
That's basically what that is. And I love it. I'm there for it. So anyways, I think that's kind of holding back a little bit from the fatigue, of it all.
yeah. Oh, Bloodsport was the other Bloodshot was the
Oh yeah.
other Valiant guy I was thinking about.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
Shout
yeah,
out to Mr. Family Man. Diesel, it's all
yeah.
about the family.
Oh my god.
Shout out to Bloodshot, which I actually purchased so I could watch again and again.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. So cool, man. Well, no, I did want to say, hey, before we end it all, you put on here like on our little notes here, what's next? I mean, we went through all these different options and everything. Anime, sci-fi, romance, comedy, rom-com, sports, action, thriller, horror. You pick one, I pick one. How about that? And give our case.
I think we're going to see a a new version of action heavily inspired by anime.
Okay.
Anime inspired action.
Is there an example of a recent movie or something that gives you hope that this is direction is not hope, but just, gives you
Uh,
a sense?
think of where we're coming from the Fast series, X versus Sever, if it was actually any good. You know,
Ooh, that's a deep cut. Deep cut. Cool name. Cool name though.
this the kind of, madcap really into the heads of the guy, Train Spotting, Taken, seeing how these movies popped off. I think the next generation of not Train Spotting, with the action dude with the movie on the train.
Man, I can't remember.
You remember the adrenaline thing? Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, anime inspired action. John Wick falls in that category too. That's a
Oh,
good
okay.
example.
Yeah,
So I
Wick.
think we're
Yeah,
gonna
yeah.
see more of that.
High action, just like the one you sent me via text that time, got me hyped.
Oh, the
Via the messenger. I don't know where's that from. Where's that anime from? But it was
wait,
awesome.
what was
The
it? What
one
was
where
the
they were
action?
fighting. Yeah, were fighting and,
Oh, in like
I
a oh yeah, dude had the sword and was running up
yeah,
on the other guy. That was
yeah.
a Full Metal Alchemist.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Good stuff. Good stuff. No, I agree. I think there's some opportunities there. I mean, they're also playing with anime, just anime in general, right? With
Yeah,
My Hero Academia coming out on movies. I mean, it seems like they have a new anime coming out at least once a month now. And to
that's
see
pretty
what
good too.
happens to them. Yeah. Oh, what, really? Okay. Yeah. My kids are into it. Man, anime is like huge now, man. Shit. I remember being my kids' age, I had to sneak and go watch, Akira, man.
N Ninja
I'm gonna show
Scroll.
you something. Ninja
Yeah.
Scroll. But I'm talking about high school, man. When anime was first popping off, you had to get the special version from Japan. You gotta
Yep.
go, after school when no parents are around to go watch it. And you're like, oh, this is some violent stuff, man. I don't know if you're ready for it. Freaked me out when you see it for the first time, the hardcore stuff.
Yeah, I got in trouble with the family for having anime around. They said they wanted to borrow one of my videotapes, and they said, "What is it?" I said, "It's a cartoon." And the parent was just like, "Oh," and they took it. I wasn't there at the time, you know. I let my cousin borrow my tapes or whatever, but he borrowed it, and next thing I know, my aunt's like, "You and your mother are gonna have a good sit down talk." I was, "The hell's this?" Yeah, my mom was like, "Hey, listen, we know the anime, that's fine, but your aunt can't handle that stuff." Mm. And it was Ninja Scroll, and I think there's some bad scenes in Ninja Scroll that, could have some parents alarmed.
Yeah. 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 So, no, okay. So, okay, my shot,
Alright.
horror, man. I think, I'm not a big horror guy, but that's it's either superheroes or horror that always make money. We just saw that with Megan.
Yeah,
And I think, they're just gonna do more of that. I mean, because think about that's one of the few experiences. Horror is always better in the theater because you hear people laughing, giggling, or don't go in that room. If you're in a lively crowd, and so just something about it. Yeah, and it also makes money. I mean, tons of money. Basically, they can make these movies for like dirt cheap. I mean, we talked about what's that, Terrifier 2. I think they made that stupid movie for like what, a couple $100,000 and it ended up making like 5 million. I mean, you can make money off these things. And
yeah,
to be
yeah,
honest with you, a lot of our directors get their start, and actors get their start in horror, man. And it's
yeah.
like one of those things that just like you just get so, you can get in it so quick and easy, make a name for yourself, and then now you can kind of do other things with it. I mean,
S
so
like your boy Eli Roth, huh?
Eli Roth. Oh yeah. Shout out to Eli get another shot at the Thanksgiving the horror film. Classic. If you guys haven't
Mhm.
seen and the
Yeah,
Grindhouse vision, so a couple years ago, shoot, this came out when we were in college, right? When the Grindhouse came out, or was it after college? I can't remember.
it was after college.
And yeah, so Quentin Tarantino did this thing called Grindhouse, where it's just these old type of, kind of was it shock value kind of movies where things would happen that was crazy. Wasn't really
Yeah,
horror, but it was just like shocky. And then they had these trailers in the middle because I guess back in the day they would while you watch the movie they would have trailers for other movies in the movie. And in
yeah.
between the different movies, they had these trailers. One was called Thanksgiving. Funniest thing you ever see in your life, man.
Almost Imma watch that again, man.
Me too. I'm about to watch that after this because I gotta watch that. Just all the just think about like, the Christmas horror films that we always see every now and then, like Black Christmas, Santa killing. It's just the same thing, but now you got turkey and pilgrims, right? You're running around trying to kill people, or
Yeah,
this is one scene that's so profane I can't even mention
yeah,
here, but
you'll have to watch the
crack
trailer for yourself. We'll have
cracks me up every time, man. Cracks me up every time. Just imagine a family sitting around having Thanksgiving dinner, the most profane thing you ever seen happening, and they're just standing there like, "Oh, well, just this regular day." Anyway, they're remaking that. So I was like, "Man, good old Hollywood, man. No ideas ever forgotten." So anyway, anything else, man, you wanna bring up?
no, no, we're all good here. Is superhero fatigue setting in? You know what? I mean, I really hope not, because I just hope that they stop and, like, try to get back to the quality of it all, but I actually shudder to think about that because there's so many bad actors in the Hollywood space, pun intended, because and it's like they're building up for something that they don't want to even like, they don't like these hero movies. A lot of Hollywood just doesn't like the hero movie thing. When I say the bad actors, they sabotage a hero movie just so they could go on and make whatever other kind of movie they wanted to make. And, you know, as I said, Disney doesn't have it'll be a big cost to Disney if heroes go out of favor. It'll be a big cost to WB, Warner Discovery if heroes go out of favor. So there's a lot of money riding on it, but I hope they do the right thing instead of making dumb shit. 'Cause I don't like dumb shit.
No, well said, man. I think you kinda summed it up best, and I think we're all in that boat. I mean, as a lover of these stories and, comic book collector in the past myself, I mean, I'm still gonna keep going, man. I mean, I'm almost like a abused, I hate to use this term, but just like someone that's been in an abusive relationship, but they keep telling me they love me. And so, I just want that high because I know how good it could be, right? I see the
Yes,
potential,
yes.
and you're gonna always get excited about that potential, and so I think, because I've been there with this Spider-Man, amazing, Spider-Man 2 or Spider-Man Far From Home or, Avengers Endgame. So there've been some highs, man. So I'm just kind of looking for those highs again, and I think you can get there, but you just gotta have faith. So like I said, I mean, it is, disheartening, but I'm gonna still show up. I'm gonna punch my ticket and show up.
Good job. Good
Yeah,
job.
yeah. So, and also I need content to talk about, man, on my own stuff. So
Oh, that's right, that's right. Yeah, you're doing good out there, the real Theo Harvey. I like what you're doing. You're jumping out there doing your media thing, so proud.
nah, man, yeah, you gave me inspiration, man. So man, yeah, definitely. I'm trying to figure out how I want to eventually kind of, leverage this. This is good content. So, maybe eventually I'll start, interjecting that once I'm known for one thing and start to expand the brand a little bit more. But yeah, man, I enjoy it, man. And I want to have some more stuff coming out. So yeah, I appreciate it. Go check me out, the real Theo Harvey. But Mr. Benja, what you got cooking, man? I know you got something popping off, man. About to send out some good stuff to the peoples.
Oh yeah, man. I'm good into my the first of many ebooks that I've been setting up. So you'll be able to get those from mrbenja.com. I was working on my studio for a little bit to do some more recording. So got some podcast episodes that are coming out along with these ebooks that are coming out. It's all in a good flow. I'm in a really happy place with my work right now. So just knocking it out, man.
Yeah, I love it, man. Execution speed. That's what it's about. Hey everyone. Thank you for listening to Show versus Business. Definitely check us out on all the different sites that you kind of listen in on at us at. Oh, sorry, Mr. Benja. I'm just messing everything up. So I'm gonna start at the scratch. Everyone, please like, subscribe, and comment at Show versus Business on Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. Listen to us at Spotify, iTunes, or wherever you listen to podcasts. If you like us, go check us out at our website at Show versus Business. All right, Mr. Benja. Take care.
Peace.